Whoopi! Whoopi Goldberg! Or should I say Karen Johnson?
God bless you. Black or white, we're working for the same cause. To find you work.
Well, she eventually did find work after all of those cinematic masterpieces she was in back in the day, like Eddie, Monkey Bone, and Made in America.
What do you mean it's white?
We can thank the executives at ABC News for employing Karen for the last 20 years, paying her a reportedly astronomical $8 million a year to make up narratives that keep those same executives happy. As my buddy over at Newsbusters, Nick Fondacaro, pointed out, and he does the job of a saint so we don't have to watch those hens cluck every single day, he pointed out a particularly interesting part of Wednesday's episode where the ladies were talking about the Israel-Iran conflict, because when I think Middle East analysis, I think The View.
Jesus would be the Grand Marshal at the Pride Parade.
Farrah Griffin said, and correctly so to anyone with a functioning brain, that
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Whoopi Karen immediately responded,
Not if you're black.
"Really? You're a black woman, allegedly worth $30 million, who changed her name from Karen Johnson to Whoopi Goldberg back in the day, probably to sound more Jewish so you can get more roles in Hollywood." Okay, a lot of people in Hollywood do that, but try that in Iran. At another point in the conversation, Whoopi says,
There's no way I can make you understand.
"Understand what? Just because you were in the color purple doesn't make you oppressed, lady. Besides maybe Joy Behar, I'll bet old Karen here makes way more money than either of the other white women on the panel."
Whoopi, God bless. As you told me tonight outside, someday it's going to be your whole show.
Enough of this crap. While Karen did admittedly say that the US is the best country in the world,
This is the greatest country in the world.
how can she also say that the US is not a better place to live for black people than in Iran? They also talked about how they throw gays off of rooftops in Iran, but it's Pride Month and I don't want to get the Muslims all excited. That's it for today. Don't forget to check out Nick Fondacaro's work over at Newsbusters and more of our work over at MRC-TV. Head over to mrc.org/donate since we're a nonprofit and couldn't do what we do without all of you. For MRC-TV, I'm Nick Kingadis.